Welcome to the first part of getting your liability waiver created. So similar to what we did for the previous client agreement, this is going to be starting off in a Google Doc. So inside of the description of this training section, there's going to be a link to a Google Doc. So you're going to be able to go ahead and click on it, or you might actually have to go ahead and copy it and then paste it into your browser. Now, once you actually go ahead and do that, like similar to what we did with the new client agreement, this is not going to be an editable template for you out the bat, right? So we've created this for you, so that way it's something that you can copy and make your own, right? So what you're going to do is you are going to go ahead and click on File and then make a copy. And then once you have that, you're then going to go ahead and rename it. Now, I would recommend you go ahead and actually rename it to something that is related to your business. So in this case, let's say, for example, the business name was Body Forge. So we're going to make Body Forge Liability Agreement, right? Okay, beautiful. Now, we would also recommend for you to be very organized, so you can actually go ahead and place this inside of a specific folder in your Google Drive. So if you do that, you can click on that, and then you will be able to go ahead and select it from there, okay? However, for the purposes of this example, I'm just going to go ahead and proceed, and I'm going to go ahead and make a copy. And you'll see that it does open up another tab, so that way I can go ahead and proceed that way. Now, next up, after that, very similar to what it is that we did for the new client agreement, we're going to go ahead and use the advanced features of Google Docs in order to go ahead and make our lives easier. So inside of the guide, you'll notice that we have this verbiage right here, right? Where it says insert company name / business name here. So like we did for the previous training, we can either go over here to edit, and then we can go to find and replace, or what we can do, I got my virtual keyboard here to show you as well. We can go Command F, so you see I pressed the F letter on there, and then that went ahead and opened up the search that is inside of Google Docs. Now, alternatively, obviously because I'm on a Mac or a Apple computer, if you are on a Windows, you're not going to have a command key, you're going to have a control key. So that's what you would use for that, okay? And then when you're here, you go ahead and click on the More Options button. And then once you have clicked on the More Options button, it's going to go ahead and open up that Find and Replace panel there, right? So again, you can do it through two different ways, and we went ahead and showed you that there. Okay, then we have is Find, okay? We're going to go ahead and again, we're going to copy this using our hotkey, Command C or Control C in order to copy, right? So Command and then the letter C, or Control C, and then we're going to go ahead and paste. So in this case, it's going to be Command V, okay? And just like that, as soon as I paste it, right, Command V is the paste hotkey, or right click and paste. But of course, learning the shortcuts is going to be helpful for you long term. And you're going to see that there are in fact 18 different places that we are going to have to go ahead and replace this, okay? So what we're going to go ahead and do, I'm going to move this to the side so you can drag this window around within the actual Google Docs, panel here. And then I can go ahead and replace this, and I can put Body Forge LLC, just like that, okay? And so this is going to be my company name. Obviously for you, you're not going to put Body Forge LLC, you're going to put whatever your company name is. Now you will also notice that we do have the actual bracket there. That's going to be important, so I can actually go ahead and replace it. Now, according to the recommendations that we make in the actual guide, is that we would recommend actually going in and doing it one by one, okay? So you'll see there is the replace all feature. However, you don't want to kind of, because this is a one-time project, right? And it's worth for you to just click replace 18 times to make sure that it's actually getting replaced properly, right? So it's up to you if you wanted to replace or replace all. We are big fans of just doing replace one time, so that way you don't actually make a mistake. Now, of course, the template is there. If you make a mistake, you're not sure, you can always undo it and all of that kind of stuff. However, it's totally up to you how you want to do it, right? So right now, how it's selected is that they have the light green color, and then you have the dark green color. The dark green color is the one that is currently selected. So you'll see, if I go ahead and hit the replace button, you'll see just like that, it went ahead and replaced that dark green color and automatically moved to the next option on there, which is also now a dark green color, right? And so therefore I can come in here and I can replace, and as I'm replacing, I'm reading around the dark green to make sure that, is everything the way that it needs to be, right? And so again, you already know what this liability waiver is for, so I'm not going to read through all of this, but it's important for you to read the verbiage so you can kind of get an idea of exactly what this is talking about. And if there are any changes that you need to make, if you need to reach out to the community in order to get support, there are other students who are in this program, there are other community members who you will be able to go ahead and reach out to and get help from the community. And if you're somebody who understands, like, hey, you already went past this step, you're kind of a little bit more advanced, you're going to get stuck somewhere in the future. So make sure that you actually go out and help people right now, because there's going to be things that you are not good at. Maybe it's going to be sales, maybe it's going to be people interaction, maybe it's going to be marketing, maybe it's going to be local business marketing, whatever it is, make sure you're also contributing inside of the community. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and, just for the sake of this, because obviously we're going to just doing this as a training, I'm going to go ahead and replace this a lot faster. So there we go. All of that now has been replaced. Okay. So that is going to be the the first part of this. And then the other thing that you want to do is, again, just read it. Very, very important, because what we're going to then do after we've gone ahead and created this and edited this in the Google document, we are then actually going to go to part 2 of this. And again, remember, because you've already done the new client agreement, this is going to be so much faster for you. But now we've completed, cool. That's it. It's as simple as that. We only had the actual business name in this. Unlike the client agreement, there was a little bit more, city and state and support email and all that stuff. That's not in the liability waiver. So now what we do is we go over to part 2, which is going to be building it inside of the ClientKit software. Okay, so what we're going to go ahead and do is, I do have the actual tab open here, right? So I go ahead and click on the tab, and we're going to be over here under payments, okay? And then we go over here under contracts, and just like we did previously, we are going to make sure that we are here under templates, because we are going to start this off as a template, and you should, if you followed along step by step, have that new client agreement already built out, okay? That's previously, we've already done that. We're actually creating another one here, so we're going to go new, another template, okay? And then exactly the same way that we had done before, we're going to continue that way with the copy and paste. Now, the name of this one is going to be similar right here. If I copy this, again, remember, copy, I'm going to go ahead and drill this in for anybody who doesn't know this already, right? Command C, copy, and then I go ahead and highlight this. Now, if you want to go ahead and highlight, you do Command letter A, okay? Command letter A will select all, and then Command V will paste, okay? So that way, without even having to move the mouse, just by shifting a couple keys on the keyboard, Command C, Command A, Command V, boom, just like that. And of course, Control for those of you who are on Windows, okay? So there we go. We've named it this specific way because it's a part of a system. We've gone ahead and emphasized that over and over again. It's very important that you have a system for running your business, so that way it's much easier. Now, once you have that taken care of, what we're then going to go ahead and do next is similar to what we did previously. We are going to go ahead and hit the plus button. We're going to go ahead and drag the text icon on here. And then if you remember what we did previously, we used to Command A. Command A was actually to go ahead and select everything. And then we backspace, so that way it clears everything out of that. And then all we're going to now go ahead and do is we're going to start to build out the pages from the actual Google document. So the same way that we did before, right now I have all these tabs up here, right? So I have this one, this is the template one. I can go ahead and close this one out, boom. But I'm going to go ahead and open my template, the one that I've already gone ahead and edited. I'm going to break this out, just drag it out here. I'm going to make it into its own separate screen. Now, obviously this is where having more screen real estate helps, because of course right now I'm recording, so I can't use my ginormous screen over here, and I can't use my multiple monitors, but it's okay. We're going to go ahead and make the best do of what we got going on here. So I'm going to just go ahead and do that right there. And then just like this, what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and copy and paste, right? So we're here at the first part in the very beginning. We're going to go ahead and scroll down, and we're going to go ahead and copy, okay? And just to go ahead and show you that virtual keyboard once again, copy is going to be Command C. Again, we're using these over and over and over again, eventually become second nature for you, right? Command C or Control C on Windows. When we come over here, I'm going to close this because it's annoying. We're not going to paste, because if you remember what happened previously, it would actually mess up a lot of what we had going on here, right? Now, in this case, it looked like it worked out okay. However, just to be sure, I'm going to go ahead and do paste and match style. Okay, so that way it can kind of paste that way. Now, what we're going to do here is I just want to make sure that everything lines up in the format ways, right? So this top part, it looks like it should be bigger, and I'm going to go ahead and make this a little bit bigger over here. So we're going to go ahead and make this a heading 3. Now, it looks like it is centered, so I want to make sure that it is centered as well, okay? And then we have participants, contact name, okay, awesome, and then purpose and explanation of procedure. So this one is going to be bold, underlined. Remember, Command B and then Command U in order to underline, and that is going to be the first page, okay? Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put the second page. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Hit this page on there. We're going to go ahead and put the text on there. Now, based off of what I was seeing, sometimes the pasting of the style matches up. So here's another kind of scenario, right? This is only a 2-pager. I'm going to actually give it a shot. I'm not going to do paste and match style. Now, one thing that I am noticing as we do this here, because we do have this error, we'll fix this in just a second, but what I think I am noticing is that you see how we're hitting the end of the PDF page break? And, the way we designed this was so that way it wouldn't do that. So what I'm thinking is that maybe what we can do is we can actually make this a little bit smaller, right? So we can select all of this, and then what I can do is I can come over here, and I'm going to go ahead and make it, let's say 14 size, right? And so 14 size, give me the PDF page break there. Let me see if I make it even a little bit smaller. Let's go to a 12. There we go. So that 12 helped a lot. So if I do a 12, I'm going to obviously have to go to the first page and do a 12 here. So let me go ahead and scroll all the way up, highlight as much as I can. Let's go over here and do a 12. So that's not bad, right? So that's not terrible. If I wanted to go a little bit more, if I wanted to maybe make it a 14, I could, but then, it may not look the best because the first page is 14, the second page is 12, right? And so that way that might not be the best. And you'll see I just did a hotkey there. I don't know if you noticed that, right? So what I just did right now was it was 12. I did a Command Z in order to undo, okay? And then you can actually redo. There's also another hotkey, okay? So there's a bunch of shortcuts. I'm just exposing you to them. You don't have to memorize them. Don't get overwhelmed. Don't get, oh no, what's going on? I got to learn so much. It's okay if you don't know these. It's going to be something you can learn and adopt as you go along here. But in order to redo, so if you remember, what is undo? Undo is Command Z, right? And then if you want to redo is actually Command Shift, right? So Shift is that other key right there. And I just have Command with my thumb, Shift with my pinky, and then I go ahead and with my index finger, I hit Z. And what that does is it does redo. And so there's all these shortcuts that you can learn on the keyboard that are going to allow you to be much more proficient around this tech stuff. And again, it's not something that you got to learn overnight. It's not something to be able to master overnight. It's just something that becomes your habit after years and years and years and years of doing this. And so that's something that you're going to be able to learn as you go along here. Okay. So I went ahead and made this 12. I think based off of how it looks, it should be fine. I don't see it as being an issue. And I know, for example, we have this PDF page break here, so that should be fine as well. Now, what I am going to go ahead and do is I'm going to just go ahead and cut out that kind of space there. And the reason I say that is because the next step, now that we've gone ahead and copied everything, right? So everything's copied. Let's go back over to our guide here and organize this. We're now going to go ahead and add a signature box. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and click on the plus button. We're going to go ahead and click on signature, and we're going to go ahead and drag it over here. I'm going to go ahead and X this out. And then we're going to go ahead and right over here, click signature. Now I might make this a little bit smaller just so it fits because I want it to fit within the page break. So there we go. That's not bad. Okay. And then what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to fix that custom variable error, right? So if I click over here, somewhere over here, you'll see that we have that custom variable error. Now, what we found out was the error comes whenever there is one of these like highlighted blue ones, right? So let me zoom in here so you can see a little bit better, is that whenever there's these highlighted blue ones, that's when there's an error. So what we got to do is we got to go ahead and highlight this right here with the brackets. And then we come over here. Let me just expand this a little bit so you can see. And we're going to come over here at the top right. It says custom values. So we can click on that. And then I'm going to go ahead and click on contact. Don't click account, okay? Because we've messed this up a bunch of times ourselves. We click account and then we accidentally put, account name or location name. Oh, no, that is no bueno, okay? Now, again, because I just did that, what am I going to do? I'm going to do Control Z and it undid that, right? Command Z. I'm going to go back, contact, and it's going to be contact full name, right? Because contact name, contact full name, okay? Otherwise, it would have shown up as contact first name, which is not what I want. I'm going to undo that. Boom. And then let's see if it allows me to save now. Nope, still nothing. Okay, so it didn't allow me to save. So let me go down here. And it might be because we have this other contact name over here, right? So I'm going to go ahead and do the same. I'm going to highlight it right here. And then I'm going to go over here to custom values. Let me close this screen because it's hiding my previous one behind it. Contact, full name. And then let me go ahead and see if it allows me to save now. And just like that, boom shakalaka, it does allow us to save. And so if you run into any issues with this, make sure that you just go in, right? It might be the contact name. Sometimes it might be some of these other ones. If it's not, like in this example that I'm just recorded for you right now, it was the contact name. But let's say, for example, it's the date, right? What you're going to do is you're just going to select it with the brackets on the date. You're going to go to custom values. You go to right now because it's the time right now that it is being filled out right now. And then you just go down over here to date, month, day, year. You select that, right? And should basically nothing change because I think that wasn't the issue one. And then obviously you have one over here as well, right? So you got 4 altogether, 2 at the top and 2 at the bottom. Those are the custom values that are automatically going to get filled in when somebody actually goes ahead and fills out this document, okay? So we then go ahead and hit save. Again, everything is now being saved. And that, ladies and gentlemen, congratulations. We have now gone ahead and completed creating your liability waiver, right? So we went ahead and created it and edited it inside of Google Docs. And then we went ahead and built it out inside of ClientKit. So now if I go back, you will see, and let me actually just go ahead and resize this because right now I'm zoomed in at 150, which everything is so close. Let me go ahead and hit reset. That'll go ahead and zoom me out again. And then you'll see now we have our 2 templates. So we got our template of the liability agreement that we just went ahead and made right now. And then we also have our new client agreement as well. Now, the last thing I'll mention here is I know inside of the guide it'd say liability agreement. However, I think that the more appropriate term might actually be liability waiver. And so we're going to go ahead and make sure that that is something that is changed as well. So we'll go ahead and make that liability waiver. I think that's going to be more of an appropriate term, and we'll make sure that that gets fixed on the actual guide as well. And then, of course, you want to just make sure that you save because after you do that, you will be rocking and rolling. And so that's it. You got your liability waiver and you got your client agreement. We're actually not done yet because we actually do need to go ahead and test this out. We need to go ahead and help you make sure that all of your email settings are taken care of and then walk you through how to actually send this over to your client once it becomes relevant. But for right now, that is this specific training section. Continue on, keep the momentum going. We will catch you in the immediate next training section. We're going to walk you through actually how to test all this.